or today's Phillies game recap as the Phillies late last night over in Arizona actually did something that I did not anticipate to happen, and I probably shouldn't have been as naive considering the fact of the way the last series ended. But the Philadelphia Phillies in this game fell 13-7 in the final score. And this is a game where the Phillies, through the first 3.5 innings, had themselves a 7-0 ball game, and in the midst of 2 innings, lost that lead and got outscored 12-0 in literally 2 half innings. The Arizona Diamondbacks were able to put up 12 stinking runs. Now, we all know about the September collapse, and that hasn't really faltered away from any Phillies fan. But the way the Phillies have been playing this year, and since Rob Thompson's taken over, which we'll talk a little bit about Bryce Harper's comments a little bit later, but since Rob Thompson has taken over, the one thing out of the many things that Thompson's been able to do with this ball club is beat teams that they're supposed to beat. That is something that this team has done really well at and has succeeded with, beating the teams that they're supposed to beat. Now, have they struggled against the likes of the New York Mets? Yes, they have. But have they beaten up on the likes of the Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds? Yes, they have. And that is what has excelled them into the second wild card spot. But now we head into September. It's literally starts this week. It's, I believe, the last day of August, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, this is one where it was what it was. But we have to turn the page here because what we don't want this to start a September collapse. There are no excuses for not beating the Arizona Diamondbacks. Granted, the Phillies offense gave you a 7-run lead. And most of the times, as your defense, as your pitching staff, you got to close that ball game out. But in turn, if your pitching doesn't put you in a good spot, this is a team game. You got to go out there and you got to go back to work. And I just thought that overall, as a team performance, I did not like this. Straight up did not like. Who's going to like losing a 13-7 to a bad ball club when you had a 7-0 lead as well? So we'll discuss it. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about some of the news and notes. Some things happened yesterday, some injury notes as well. But welcome everyone to Phillies Game Recap. Of course, I'm your boy, El Parcero Philly. Appreciate everyone coming and checking on out. Again, we're going to continue doing it like this, the Phillies Game Recaps for this week, since we're going to be in Arizona and in San Francisco, which will all be late games. I believe there is one day game during the San Francisco series, but we'll check that out when we get there. But just a quick reminder and a quick heads up. And by the way, there is one more day of August. Ladies and gentlemen, summer is not yet over. We got one more day, and then summer is officially over. You guys know me. Summer officially ends on August. I don't care about the September BS, what is September, whatever. September is fall, all right? August is summer. Capiche? Capiche. Guys, real quick, if you guys do enjoy this content, do me the solid, hit the like button, subscribe for more Philly sports. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to today's game. So like I mentioned, you finish out the Pittsburgh Pirates series. Contreras looks like an absolute ace against you. The offense kind of just sputters away. They were very quiet, really didn't do much of anything. Got shut out, right? You lose 5-0. All right, well, it is what it is. I mean, you're not going to expect to sweep another ball club, right? Like, we'll move on to Arizona. Let's go get another series win. Let's head over to San Francisco. Let's end their season, right? We're all still feeling good about it. And then this ball game starts, and obviously you have Ranger Suarez going up against the man formerly known as Madison Bumgarner, the guy who gave us one of the best World Series performances in our lifetime, millennials. That's me, me. And so we're feeling pretty good about this one. So, and you go into this one, and the Phillies look really good. They start off in the top of the first inning. They add on 2 runs thanks to a Bryce Harper double with 2 men on, followed by a fielder's choice by JT Realmuto, and now it's a 2-0 ball game here for the Philadelphia Phillies. They tack on an extra run in the top of the second inning by a Kyle Schwarber sharp ground ball that brought in Bryson Stott. In the third inning, you got JT Realmuto with the sac fly. Alec Boehm, great base running. Got a double on his at bat, and then he advanced off of Bryce Harper ground out. And then, of course, you got JT Realmuto bringing him in the top of the fourth. And this is kind of where it all ended. But they got 3 runs. They got their most runs out of any inning in this ball game. It starts with a Kyle Schwarber homer for his 36th home run of the season. He is your NL leading home run getter, ladies and gentlemen. And he hit a 3-run home run shot. Brought in Veerling, brought in Marsh. Brandon Marshy was back here today. It was definitely great to see him back in center field. We'll talk about that news of note. But the Phillies added on 2 big hits, a single and a double, followed by a JT Realmuto walk. They even took Madison Bumgarner out of the game. They had a pitching change. Luis Farias would come into the ball game. Gene Segura would end the game with the groundouts. Now you have a 7-0 ball game through 3.5 innings of play, and you're thinking to yourself, what can go wrong? All right, let's get out of this ball game. I'm thinking about the post-game show at this point. I'm like, all right, 7-0. This thing is looking good. Let me go to bed. They got this. Ranger Suarez was looking really good through those first three innings as well. We got this. Wake up in the morning, 6:30. What do I see? The Phillies fucking lost. How do you lose this game? You had a 7-0 lead. How does this happen? Well, let's talk about that. How did this happen? How about this? You start off with the Josh Rojas groundout. Then you get a Ketel Marte single. Christian Walker single. Emmanuel Rivera gets a double. Stone Garrett gets a single. It's 7-2 now. You got a mound visit. And then Ranger Suarez, I don't know what Caleb Gotham did in that moment, but he got Ranger Suarez in the groove of things again. Jake McCarthy strikes out. Then Corbin Carroll, who's making his MLB debut in this ball game, gets a fielder's error by Gene Segura. Gene Segura gets a ground ball from Carroll, and he's just like bobbling it. It's like he has a tough time of trying to take control of this ground ball. It like kind of takes a bobble, and then he just throws it to first. It's too late. Reese trying to throw it back to second. Bryce stop. It's too late. And now, are you kidding me? Now you were able to get Emmanuel Rivera on, and then of course you got men on first and second base. That right there should have been the end of the inning. That right there could have easily been a double play. Gene Segura, 9 out of 10 times, makes that play. That's why I can't really kill him too much. And then he obviously had a bad ball game, which we'll talk about a little bit. But that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that 2-out field error by Gene Segura was a difference maker. That turned everything around. Perdomo gets a walk. Carson Kelly gets a double. That brought in 2 more runs, and we get out of the 4th inning with the Diamondbacks putting up 6 runs, and it's now a 7-6 ball game. 7-6 ball game. And don't get me started on the 5th inning, because first off, in the top of the 5th, the Phillies go 1, 2, 3. Matty V and Brandon Marsh strike out in that inning. It was just absolutely terrible. Luis Farias was able to get a 1, 2, 3 inning. And then the Diamondbacks went back to work. You had bases loaded. Ranger Suarez would get bases loaded. And then, of course, Jake McCarthy gets absolutely pelted in the back by Ranger Suarez. And with bases loaded, Ranger Suarez walked to get another run in. Now it's a tied-up ball game. Corbin Carroll gets a double. He gets a field and errors on his first at-bat. Then he gets a double on his second at-bat. And then he gets a double on his third at-bat. And now he's got an RBI. So at that point now, after Christopher Sanchez got put into with 2/3 of an inning last inning, then he was only able to get an out in here. And then now you got Andrew Bellotti coming in, and Bellotti really struggles as well. He allows a single by Carson Kelly that brought an extra run. Then walks Ketel Marte, walks Christian Walker with bases loaded. And we get out of that inning with the score of 12-7. In the midst of 2 innings, these guys put up 12 runs. 12 runs. We went through their lineup 2.5 times, maybe 2.3 times. That's absolutely embarrassing. And between Christopher Sanchez, Andrew Bellotti, and Ranger Suarez, you had 91 pitches thrown in 2 innings. There are dudes who do that in complete games. In 9 innings, they throw 91 pitches. In 3 pitchers, you threw 91 pitches in 2 innings. The game was pretty much over at that point. The Phillies' bats were dead. Everything that they gave, everything that they had in that game was for the first 3 innings because nothing else was there. Stone Garrett would add the little cherry on top of this FU Sunday as he would get a solo shot home run on Brad Hand in the bottom of the 8th inning. And just like that, the final score, a 13-7 ball game. Look, there's a lot of different takeaways in this ball game. I know people are panicking because we've seen this before from this Phillies team literally last year when they went into Arizona and struggled and actually lost a series to the Diamondbacks. I believe we got swept to those boys in a series where you even saw Zach Wheeler go on the mound. So I think a lot of us are a little bit on edge, and we would feel a lot better after tonight's game and the Phillies do get a win. Now, with that being said, the Phillies did get on a 7-0 lead to start this ball game off. And for 4 innings, you had the lead. I guess 3.5 innings, you had the lead, right? So you should be able to close out that ball game. Now, what happened in the 4th and 5th innings? Ranger Suarez all of a sudden just lost it. He lost command of the strike zone, and the guys, the Diamondbacks just got ahead of him. Now, Caleb Cotham, I do want to question here today. Now, Caleb's done a really solid job, and we talked about that first visit with Ranger Suarez out there. Rangers turn it around, and then he strikes out McCarthy, and that was great. But then after that, he loses it again. Christopher Sanchez, after a really solid outing the last time against the Reds, dude, what the heck happened here? He threw like 32 pitches in 2/3 of an inning pitched. That was horrible. And he as well had no command of the strike zone. And then Bilotti, I mean, he had to rush to warm up, and then he has to go out there in a terrible situation. He tried to save this ball club. That's not the guy who went out there to save the ball club, but what else are you going to do? This is game one of a Western Conference, two Western Conference series that you got to take care of. You have to save these arms as best as you possibly can. There's a little bit of a management going on with these arms. But in those visits, why is it? What was the mindset with these guys? Because it felt like every single one of these pitchers, including Ranger Suarez, all wanted to throw some off-speed stuff. A slider, a sinker, a curveball. Like nothing in the zone. No fastballs. And that was a great point by Ricky Bowe on the post-game show. Like, at some point, because, there was even moments like Emmanuel Rivera. He goes up to plate. He knows that Christopher Sanchez cannot see the strike zone right now, or he has no command of the strike zone. So he's just waiting to get walked. And there was a couple batters like that ready to go walk because they could not hit a strike to save their life. So why the hell would they swing? And that was a problem here. The Philadelphia Phillies as a team walked 8 batters here tonight. That can't happen. You cannot give free bases to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Did the Phillies go into this game, maybe downplaying and overlooking their opponent? Possibly. I do feel like that because when you go up 7-0 the way you did, I mean, they were doing everything. They're running good bases. They got hits from their big bats. Kyle Schwarber got another home run. So they're starting to feel themselves. And at that point, Ranger Suarez was sailing. And then the Diamondbacks just turned the switch on. But why is it that this team struggles in Chase Field? What is it about Chase Field that gets these guys to struggle? Now, they also have been struggling down in Miami as well. Is it the fact that it's a dome? It's a relaxed and controllable environment. Obviously, both the Diamondbacks and the Marlins don't bring out big crowds. So the energy's not a lot. Do the Phillies feed off that energy? I mean, if that's the case, then why do they also struggle in Citi Field? It's just a lot of questions, and I just want to understand. And I think you guys can agree as well. I think we all just want to understand what it is, why the Phillies struggle in these type of situations against ball clubs that they should be beating. It's something that is truly and honestly unexplainable. But at that moment, Caleb Cotham, you gotta change something up. You gotta tell these guys like, dude, stop throwing that slider. Just fucking throw a 4-seam fastball down this mother effer's throat. But the thing is, like, if it's a home run, okay, but it'll try it. You got to try because all these guys are doing the same thing, and then nothing was working. Nobody had command in that strike zone, except for possibly Jose Alvarado, who was probably the best out of any bullpen piece or whatever you want to call it in today's game. He had a strikeout and he pitched one complete inning, and he had himself 23 pitches. He did allow one hit. I mean, overall, no one really threw a great game. Suarez threw 74 pitches, 3 and 2/3 innings pitched. He allowed 5 hits, obviously the 2 earned, and it was just rough. Christopher Sanchez, man, like I mentioned, 30 pitches, 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 5 earned, only 1 strikeout. After a solid, what do you go, 6 innings against the Reds? I mean, damn, man. And, like, I look at the Diamondbacks lineup, right? There's some nice pieces. There's some young pieces that I do like, but not to be putting up 13 runs the way they did. They only had 10 hits. That's embarrassing. It's from all the walks you allowed. They scored, 3 runs off of bases loaded walks. You can't just give away free runs like that. I don't care who it is. It could be the New Orleans or the Jacksonville Sharks. I'm trying to think of minor league teams. You can't do that. They'll even beat you like that, man. It was just absolutely rough, and it's tough because I wanted to kind of talk about the line because you start off this game, your top 4 slots in your batting lineup all had 2 hits, and they were all raking to start this ball game off, and it wasn't happening. Gene Segura got a lot of heat after last night's game, which it's Philadelphia. It's sports fandom in 2022. People are going to overreact over stuff. He had an off game. That type of stuff does happen. But the fact that he had an error that kind of really was a momentum shift, was a real momentum shift in this game, and then you top that off with going 0 for 4 in this game. He had a strikeout as well. It wasn't a good day for Mr. Gene Segura as well. He's definitely going to have to bounce back for sure. But it was good seeing Brandon Marsh as well, and that was another exciting part. Let's talk about some of these injuries. Obviously, the surprise was no Nick Castellanos in the lineup, and it's reported that he had suffered a turf toe injury. Jim Salisbury was the one to report this. And I'm trying to figure out, I don't believe we have a timetable yet. But apparently, this is something that Castellanos suffered last week. And he was battling through it because they need him in that lineup because essentially they were waiting for Brandon Marsh to come back so that way they can rest Nick Castellanos. So that's why you saw Matty V in right field today with Brandon Marsh back in his center field position. We'll see what happens. Turf toes are definitely tough. I've also seen turf toes end the career of the legendary Marshall Faulk. I'm not saying that Nick Castellanos' career is over by any stretch of the means, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. And, hopefully he does come back. And you probably did miss his bat here today. Although he did have an off game yesterday against the Pirates in the series finale, he's been pretty solid for you overall. He was on a 17-game hitting streak before that. Good news is Seranthony Dominguez has been throwing bullpen sessions, and he's been throwing with no pain. He's scheduled to be activated on September 2nd this week for the Giants series. So we'll see if he does come back for that. If not, start for their series next week. But that is definitely good news after what you saw here today. It would be really nice to have a Seranthony Dominguez back. Those late innings is what really concerns me, and obviously you still need to find your setup guy with Corey Knebel going down for the season. But I feel much better with whoever else we throw there. I'm fine with throwing Jose Alvarado as my setup guy for right now, with Seranthony Dominguez being the closer at the moment. But that is definitely good news. But speaking of which, a player we haven't really been talking about a lot lately, and I think we should now because this bullpen may be getting a help that may be nice, but Zach Eflin, he's back. Now, not back on the team. He hasn't done any rehab assignments, but he's been throwing. He's been doing some bullpen sessions. He's been throwing the ball, and he's been throwing without any pain, and he looks very optimistic, and he looks very good. They showed us the clips of him warming up in Arizona yesterday with the team before the game, and so that's very good news. So now that lends the question, what does Thompson Dombrowski decide to do with this whole pitching staff. Do you take Syndergaard out of the fifth slot? Do you put him in there? You got some good options here. I mean, you have 8 guys on this team that can realistically start a ball game for you. But I think for myself, considering what Zach Eflin is, and I do think that Zach Eflin is still very talented as a pitcher, with his injury history, I want him in the bullpen. Like, I think having that arm in the bullpen would be very, very dangerous and it would add on to a already strong bullpen. I mean, if you want to put him back at the 5, that's fine as well. Syndergaard back into the bullpen, I guess that's an option as well. But I mean, his bullpen is starting to turn the corner, and I know that it's tough to feel optimistic about it because of tonight's game and the 2 innings. They allowed 6 runs off 91 pitches, but you are getting some bodies back. You're getting 2 big arms. Okay, that's all you need to know. So that's definitely some good news to say the least. I do want to end here today because obviously I think all of us want to kind of sweep this under the rug and move on and just not think about the Arizona Diamondbacks. Get the hell out of Arizona. I just want Eagles versus Cardinals. That's the only time I want to talk about Philly versus Arizona. But there was a report put out there about Bryce Harper and speaking on Joe Girardi. And look, I get it. In today's journalistic day and age, clicks are everything, right? That's how you get paid. I get that. I've done that before. But someone put an article out there essentially saying that Joe Girardi was essentially talking crap on, Bryce Harper. I'm talking about Bryce Harper. We're talking about Bryce Harper and Joe Girardi. Bryce Harper was talking crap on Joe Girardi. But when I read the article, it really wasn't anything outlandish. I think Bryce was being honest. I don't know exactly how Bryce feels about Joe Girardi, the manager per se, but the one thing that was clearly evident, Bryce did not agree with Joe Girardi's decision on how to handle the young players. And you've seen that throughout this resurgence of the Phils since the firing of Joe Girardi. One of the big things that Thompson has done is entrusting the young players, and that's something that Bryce alluded to it as well. A lot of the good teams do trust those young players. When you spend a lot of money on big players, your free agent players, there are going to be some holes, and that's why you bring up prospects, hoping that they could fill some of those holes. And over the past couple of years under Girardi, it's something that they haven't been able to do. Seeing guys like Stott step up, Matty V, Nick Maton, Alec Bohm is the really big one who's really stepped up to being part of the elite players of this ball club. That's really big, guys, and that's going to go a long way. Those 4 players have gotten some seriously valuable playing time this season, and it's only going to benefit. We saw Bryce Harper with the T-shirt, the Rob Thompson T-shirt, and that was really cool. It's obvious these guys really respond to Rob Thompson more than they do Joe Girardi. Joe may have just been stuck in his ways. The game has kind of maybe evolved, and his personality may not fit with the dugout, but Thompson has, and these guys have been responding to them. All we got to do now is hope that Thompson has the recipe to avoid yet again another September collapse. But we'll see what happens. Obviously tonight we got another late one, so again, like I mentioned, we'll be back early tomorrow morning to talk about the game. But it's a 9:40 first pitch again, and this time you're gonna have. This is Wednesday. Tuesday. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Tuesday. 9:40 first pitch. You're going to have Aaron Nola going up against Zach Gallen, like I mentioned. I'm a little bit worried about this one as well because if you guys remember, Zach Gallen, local boy, shouts to Bishop Eustace. He actually has been, in his last 2 starts, have been in Philadelphia, and he struggled against the Phillies. It's his hometown team, and I'm sure back at home, he's going to want to get some revenge on the Phils, and that's one I would definitely worry about. Now, Aaron Nola, obviously, you feel a little more comfortable with him on the mound here today, but after yesterday, I don't know what I can trust with this pitching staff, especially down in Arizona. So it's going to be very important that Aaron Nola, number 1, has a good outing, but number 2, goes deep. Like, I'm not saying he has to throw another complete game, but I think after what happened yesterday, what you burned through 5 arms, I think it's imperative that he goes at least 7 innings tonight, right? So I think those are things to definitely look out for. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Phillies can bounce back. Hopefully we got some updates on Nick Castellanos as well. But the Bats Keep the pressure on. Keep pounding it. Keep pounding it, and we'll see what happens. But guys, it's going to do it for today's Phillies game recap. Again, the Phillies fall in what was probably the worst loss in this season and the best win in Arizona Diamondbacks franchise history. This is the biggest deficit that they've ever had and their biggest comeback in franchise history. So you're welcome, Arizona. You're welcome. Freaking jerk-offs. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys hit the like button. Subscribe for more Philly sports. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and I'm telling you guys, let's go Phils. Please bounce back. Jeez Louise.